tell him I'm kicking high.
That's what I do. I tell him that you're kicking high.
With a crochet hook in my hand.
With a crochet needle. I'm gonna take your picture while we're talking. But are you feeling better now from
yes,
your cough
my
and
cough.
everything?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
still got a little drippy nose, but that doesn't bother me much.
Okay. Good. So we had such a nice visit the other day that I just wanted to come back.
Wonderful. Well, thank
and
you.
see you, so I can talk with you more, because Janet and Susan were there,
Yeah.
and Simothy already went back home.
Had she?
Yeah, she had to work.
Uh-huh.
I'm retired, but
Yeah.
she's working.
Is she?
And but she wanted me to ask you some more about my mom, Polly, and what it was like when you guys were growing up.
Well, we were almost like twins, because I started to school in one school and we moved to another place and they didn't let me go to school that year. So the next year, Polly and I both were in the same grade.
Oh, you were in the same grade.
They let us, finally let us start to school together.
Well, there wasn't that much difference in your age anyway.
No.
You were close.
No, about 18 months.
18 months,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And when you were, what grade would that be? That was when you
We
were...
started school in the second grade.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, public school in the second grade. Mother had homeschooled us.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. And what was the name of the... Do you remember the school? The name of the school?
Big A.
Big A? That was a Big A school?
Yeah.
Where your dad was the principal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
The highway, the two highways made an A.
Right.
And that's where they got the Big A.
Uh-huh. And did you ever get in trouble there? Did you have to go to the principal's office?
Of course you did. I tried not to ever have to go. But
Right.
one time, Polly and I both had to go, and Daddy spanked us. And he said, now let's understand this. Because you're the principal's children, you're not getting away with anything. And we didn't get away with anything after that. In fact, we didn't even try.
Okay, that was good. What?
We knew what the results were going to be.
Yeah. Do you remember what you did to get in trouble that time, or not?
No, I don't
No,
remember,
no.
but it was silly, whatever it was.
I'm sure whatever
But
it
it
was.
got results.
Yes. Wow. And then where did you go to school after that?
Easton Ollie went to the county school, rode the school bus, and went to the county school.
And you were still in the same grade?
5th grade. Went to the 5th grade.
Okay.
And they had from the 5th through the 11th at high school.
Right.
And I went as, I guess you'd start primary when you go first year in high school. You just, and sometimes they sort of teased you.
Really? Really? Yeah.
I'd been used to wearing a hat to school all the time. And when I went to high school, nobody wore a hat. Here I come to school with a hat on, and it made quite an impression on me.
Did my mom, Polly, did she wear a hat too, or?
Not after that.
Not after that, I know. Okay. And but
we had knitted caps, and that was all right to wear. But a little felt hat was just that was too dressed up,
Okay.
you know. You were sure to get a mud pie thrown at you.
They didn't want you looking too nice, huh? Those
Yeah.
other kids, huh? Well, wow.
And I had a little coat with well, it was a long coat for me, but it had a little fur collar and with two little pieces of crochet or something, a little ball of fur on the end, little round ball of fur. And I was teased to death about those balls of
Oh,
fur.
really? Yeah, well.
And I thought they were gorgeous, and some of the other kids really let me know I was too dressed up for country kids.
Okay. Oh, wow. Well, I guess teasing is okay. They didn't bully you, though, did they?
Oh no, they just teased me to death.
Just
and you're so embarrassed the first time they tease you, you didn't want to go back to school again.
Oh, yeah.
And I was, I guess, a little bit smart because my daddy and mother both had taught me to read before I went to school. And I don't know why Daddy was in Buford every day, but they took me to first grade in Buford School, the downtown Buford School. And that made me different when I went, the next year when I went to the county school. I was different. I was, I was uppity.
You were a little uppity? Oh, okay.
Because I already could do my...
You could already knew how to read and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
And one thing that we did was to have books. And Polly and I both learned to read early. And we read everything from the newspaper on, you know.
Uh-huh.
And the Lindbergh baby was kidnapped, you know.
Yes.
And so that just made reading very exciting if you could read about what was in the newspaper, even to the other adults that were
Oh, yeah, you could talk to the adults about what was happening in the world.
Right.
Yeah, I remember something about the Lindbergh baby being kidnapped.
Yeah. Well,
And who was Lindbergh?
Charles Lindbergh Jr. And he was going to fly around the world. And they were making stations all the way around the world to gas him up and keep him going, you know, so he'd keep going.
Uh-huh.
And it took a lot of money to do that.
Right.
And so somebody figured that they'd make some money too, so they'd just take his kid and
Right.
kidnap him and see if we get some money that way.
Right.
And,
That was in the 1920s sometime.
Mhm.
Sometime in the 1920s,
Yeah.
I think.
About 1924, I think, because I was born 1918, and that put me about school year, you know.
Right. So, do you remember anything special about the Depression? Because the Depression was, I think, in 1929.
Mm-hmm. Well, you see, I was pretty young for that,
Right.
but I remember
The stock market crashed.
if we were going to have a box of stick candy for Christmas, we had to do so much work to pay for that box of stick candy.
Oh, that's good.
And you could get a lollipop for a nickel, you know, and it was usually a caramel based candy on a on a twisted piece of cardboard for a
Really?
stick.
Yeah.
And let me see something else that we thought was sort of funny. Bubble gum. Bubble gum was new.
That was new?
And you didn't dare put it down where somebody could sit in it or step in it or anything.
Right.
And if you're going to save it for yourself, you better hide it when you take it out of your mouth.
Okay.
Bubble gum was new. And I'm trying to think of some of the other things that were new. I'm sure there were plenty of adult things that were new, but they didn't impress me.
Yeah. Well, tell me about my mom, Polly. What are some of are there any things you can remember about Polly?
Yeah. She outgrew me and got all the new clothes first.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. So yours were all hand-me-downs and hers were new? Oh, that's not fair.
Polly, you Polly wore them first. And let me see. Of course, my birthday was right at Christmas.
Yeah.
And my Christmas cards say, my Christmas gifts say, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
And Happy
mine
Birthday.
Said, Merry Christmas and a Happy Birthday.
Yep. Yeah, that's one of the disadvantages. But you made it to 100 this last birthday. That's great.
Did I?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. You're 100.
I'm never sure if it's 99 or 100.
You know, it's 100 now.
It's 100.
You're actually almost 100 and a half.
Hey, I love that half.
Yeah. Right. Right. And so you went to grammar school and then to middle school, or
well,
it was
I went to first and second grade in Toccoa.
right.
And then they got a little principal, I guess is what they had needed for the country school, but they got somebody to be the head of it. So then we had a country school from the third through the fifth grade. And then we rode the school bus and went to East Sonali, which was a county school and much bigger than the little Big A school.
Lots of kids there.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy, lots of kids there. But they had a chorus group, and they had things that you couldn't have when you didn't have the personnel.
Right. Did you sing in the chorus?
Sure.
Everybody was in the chorus?
Everybody that would put on a cap and gown or
an outfit.
Yeah.
Was in the chorus, huh? So Mother was in the chorus too, Polly?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And she learned to sing alto. I never did learn to sing alto.
Okay. What did you sing?
Soprano.
Soprano. Oh, you were only a soprano. Okay. Wow. And then did that go all the way through high school? 11th grade?
Yeah.
And then the two of you went to nurses' school too, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the same time?
Mm-hmm. I had applied for the information for nursing school, and it came, and for some reason, Polly got a hold of it, and she filled it out and sent it in without even Mother knowing that she had sent it in. And when she got accepted to nursing school, Mother was dumbfounded. And she
Really?
thought that, well, maybe it was me. And she got real busy to see because I had said that I'd like to go to nursing school, you know. And she found out it was Polly. So she got busy and got both of us information on it and sent it in, and both were accepted.
And was that at Grady?
Hmm.
Okay. And how, do you remember how old you were then?
I was 18, Polly was 16.
Yeah, because
And
that's
she had to be 16, see,
okay to get in. Because
to go into nursing school.
yeah, because I think they had to get mother a new birth certificate
Probably did.
to prove how old she was.
Mhm.
And so that's the story that I heard, that
Yeah.
she could get into nursing school because they had to get her a birth certificate, and the birth certificate said she was born in 1919 when she was really born in 1920.
Yeah. But it got fudged a little bit along the way. By either a grandma, a mother, or her aunt, or somebody that
Somebody did a little fudging there,
swore that they were there when she was born. Huh?
huh? How long were you in nursing school?
3 years.
3 years.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Just routine, 3 years
Uh-huh.
nursing school.
And
You did floor work 1 year. You did surgery 1 year, and then the last, sometimes you were farmed out to places like Milledgeville, where they had the mentally
oh, really?
mental patients
mental patients?
and retarded children and things like that, so that you knew about all of these things.
Oh, wow. That was good training.
Oh, you had to have it
Uh-huh.
to finish school at Grady, and that was everybody. It was a desirable certificate for finishing nursing school.
Yeah, Mother used to brag about it.
Yeah, well,
That was something to
sure.
brag about.
Right, it was
Yeah.
something to brag about. You
And,
worked hard to get it.
uh-huh. And Mother, now she worked as a nurse for all of her life. Did you actually do nursing for a while?
Not after we got the children.
Right.
Bill made a living, and he said, "We'll just stay home with the children."
Right. That's good.
I did a lot of things like scouts and
Oh, I remember. Yes, you were like a den mother oh, that's right. I'd forgotten about that, but I remember you guys were really well. Al and Gary were really into the Scouts, and Bill too.
we had a lot of fun.
Camping,
Sure,
a lot of camping.
a lot of camping. Well, not a whole lots of camping, but some camping, because it's hard to do with different age children that are not used to being away from home, not used to eating just anything that's cooked on an outdoor fire.
Right.
You know, there's
Oh yeah, camping's not for everybody.
no, absolutely not.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember seeing pictures of Gary and Al in their Boy Scout uniforms
Oh yeah,
and stuff. I may have some of those pictures too.
that was something when you got far enough along to get a uniform.
Oh yeah, yeah. And get the different badges too.
Yeah.
Earn the badges. Did they ever get to be Eagle Scouts or anything? Do you know if Gary or Al ever made it to Eagle Scout?
Al did. Gary learned about girls along the way.
But Al did, huh? He made Eagle. Oh, that's neat. That's because that was the big thing. I mean, I never made it
Oh yeah.
I never made it past first class because I had to learn
But
Morse code.
Didn't you have fun?
Yes. Oh yes.
That was the whole idea as far
Oh
as I
yeah,
was
yeah.
concerned.
We always had fun with in the Scouts.
You
And
learn to build a campfire.
yes.
And
Yeah.
watch out, the woods catch on fire.
How to eat food that wasn't fully cooked. And stuff. That's what I learned.
But you got it hot over a campfire.
Yeah, I ate some of the rarest hamburgers you've ever seen because I couldn't keep the fire going or didn't know what I was doing. Boy, I eat that hamburger. Boy, I've never had a hamburger that rare.
Aren't these wonderful memories?
Yes, they are. They are. And then I guess by that time, well, when you got your boys, that's when Mother had me and Steve,
Mm-hmm.
and you all became mothers then, huh?
Yeah. And den mothers.
And den mothers for the Scouts. My mom never was a den mother. I don't.
She wasn't.
No. I had other, because she was, my mom was working as a
Oh,
nurse.
yeah.
She was doing the visiting nurses,
Oh, yeah.
visiting nurse stuff, and so.
And I had a station wagon, and I loaded it up 3 or 4 times a week and did something.
Yeah. And then, do you remember anything about when we moved down to Florida?
Yeah, we were so glad you did because we were going to Florida to visit you.
Yeah, I remember when you came down but most of the time we came up to Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
To visit you, because by that time you were in Snellville, I think.
Yeah, and you came to Atlanta because of Mother.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you and
Well,
Gary. When I was a kid, it wasn't as much.
Grandmother didn't matter like I did.
Yeah, and Gary and Al.
Yeah.
They were our. They were the cousins that we always had an interesting time with.
And sleep in the barn. You did all kind of
Oh
things.
yeah,
didn't
we
you?
would sleep in the barn, or I remember the one time we, when you were in Snellville, when we helped with the baling the hay
Uh-huh.
and loading that stuff on the trucks, and I was just a kid.
Yeah.
That was the hardest work I had ever done in my life.
And they threw a whole barrel of hay at you at one time.
Oh yeah, and we're trying to load these big bales up on the truck and to put them away in the barn. Whew. I was kind of small and skinny, so picking those things up was tough, for me.
You learned what it was like living on a farm, didn't you?
Yeah, and I slept good those nights. That's
Yeah.
for sure. That's for sure.
Today you wouldn't give it up for anything.
No, I know. It's a good experience to remember.
Yeah.
And tell me, Aunt Billie, what do you remember about my dad, Jack, when my mom, Polly, met Jack?
Well, Jack had been raised in Atlanta, and by a great aunt or somebody.
Yeah.
And poor fella, he was pretty green when it came to going to the country. And
Oh yeah, he was not a country boy. You're right. I know he was not a country boy.
They tossed some hay at him and expected him to catch it, and instead of that, he dodged and the bale of hay took him off the truck. Poor thing, he was beat up.
Yeah, he would dodge a lot of work.
Yeah.
But do you remember when they were dating? Grandmother, my mom, Polly, and Jack, when they were dating, did they have dates?
Oh yeah, but I'm trying to think of something special. they they had some little gourds that were in the bottom of the garden because they didn't want them to cross the seed with some of the cucumbers and some of the bigger things that were there. And I remember they made Jackie, and who was Harold?
Harold.
He was a distant cousin of some kind, and he lived in Toccoa. But anyway, they made Jack and Harold cook the cucumbers.
Oh, really?
Had fried cucumbers.
Fried cucumbers. That's funny. I had fried pickles last night with my dinner.
Is that
with John
right?
Rourke.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things at Longhorns that I had, I ordered the fried pickles.
Yeah.
Never had them before, but they were good.
They were all right.
Yeah, they were all right.
When you live in the country and have plenty of things that you can choose every now and then to fry a pickle, that's fine.
That's fine. What did Grandmother Ruby? She one time she made me fried pumpkin blossoms.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
And I thought that was the funniest thing I'd ever heard of. Never even heard of eating pumpkin blossom.
Did you eat it?
Yes.
And was it good?
I don't remember what it tastes like, but
well, usually it had a batter on it. And
yes,
the batter
right.
was more important than
exactly. That's the way the fried pickles were last night. They had a nice batter on them. They were good. You can make anything good. You could cook cardboard with batter on it, and it'd be good.
Oh dear.
But
some of these tales you tell your grandchildren, they wouldn't believe it, would they?
no, probably not. Probably not. So what are you crocheting there?
I don't know.
Wow.
I just keep going.
You just keep going?
Let's
Pretty
see if
impressive.
We find this one, the beginning and the ending.
Uh-huh.
Mostly I'm using up thread.
Okay.
See there? It's really, really fancy when you get it stretched out and starched.
Everything, right. Well, that's nice.
It just keeps going.
Uh-huh.
It's just something to do.
That's good.
And I have a whole bunch of thread.
You're using that thread. That's good.
That's enough to last a couple of weeks.
Uh-huh. So what do you think your favorite food was? Favorite food?
My favorite food when I was growing up? I liked fried okra.
Oh, yeah.
Really liked fried okra. And I liked green beans that had vinegar on them. They were not really pickled green beans, but they had the vinegar flavor.
Okay.
And when we had fresh pork and made sausage, I loved sausage.
Me too. I still do.
And Mother made a great pancake, and she put a caramel frosting on it, and boy, you couldn't beat that.
Oh, wow.
It was wonderful.
Yeah, that would be good.
And that was the one thing I always wanted for my birthday.
Okay, it was the pancakes with the
Caramel.
Wow.
And Mother would just go to the kitchen and make it. You know, it just wasn't a great problem to her. She just knew how to do it.
Oh, I know.
She had gone to the A&M school when she was growing up, and I guess they learned to do everything as economically as they could, particularly time-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had wood fires and
Right, wood burning stove.
Yeah, and some things had to be just so right now, or we won't have enough time to get it done.
Yeah. How do you control the temperature on a wood burning stove?
They just kept putting some fire in the
Putting firewood
to keep
in?
it hot.
Uh-huh.
You know, not let it get too cool. I don't know other than that, but there usually was a little dial on the oven that told you how hot it was.
Uh-huh. Because I remember when she lived in the bomb shelter,
Mm-hmm.
she had a wood burning stove, an electric stove,
Mm-hmm.
and a microwave.
Mm-hmm.
But at the microwave, she just used as a bread box. She didn't cook anything in it. She just stored her bread in there.
Yeah. Well, they were afraid of those microwaves. They were just afraid of that microwave thing.
Oh yeah, when they first came out, that was the thing, and they talked about the microwaves being not safe, and they would heat things up so fast.
Yeah.
People were worried about them.
Times they are a changing.
Times they are a changing. They're changing faster and faster.
Yes.
As we go.
As we get older.
Yeah. Who knows? These little phones can take a picture and take a video now. You know, and you can talk to people all over the world, and there's no wires attached or anything.
Can you imagine?
I know, it's wild. You know. So I'm wondering if you can tell me anything about my dad. You know, I don't know that much really about my dad, Jack. But
well, he was a third child.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the first son. He was important because he was the son, and we had Sarah after him, but he was the male in the family.
Oh, you mean Dean? This is Dean you're talking about. Yeah. Okay.
And we deferred to him a lot of times when maybe we shouldn't have, because he sometimes was a bit spoiled.
Uh-huh.
And but I guess we loved him dearly.
How did he go about becoming a minister, Dean?
Well, we were Presbyterian, and the minister school was at Toccoa Falls. And one year, Dean was in senior high school, and he decided he'd like to finish school at Toccoa Falls. And Mother made the arrangements for him to live on the campus and go to school. And he lived in Dr. Forrest's garage apartment and made the fire in the furnace every day, and did everything it took to keep the parsonage going for Dr. and Mrs. Forrest. And sometimes they would have visiting ministers, and Dean would get Mother in on the cooking then.
Oh, okay. He would sign her up to cook.
Yeah, have some special foods.
Uh-huh.
And when Dean felt like he was being overwhelmed in the kitchen, he called home Mother. And Mother always went.
Yeah.
And You know, I don't remember a whole lot about my daddy other than the fact that he was sort of tall and had white hair and knew how to sing tenor with a group of men. And sometimes they would go to homes where there were sick people and sing a chorus or two for them, hoping they'd get well. And you know, little things like that I remember about my daddy.
Was it like a barbershop quartet or just
Yeah,
really harmony or
yeah,
just
yes,
singing?
but usually they did something out of the hymnal,
Okay, out of the hymnal.
and they said bum 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 bum
Bum,
bum,
bum, bum, bum, bum, bum, bum, bum.
and got everybody in tune, and off they went.
Oh, wow. Now did he play sports? Any sports?
Who? Our daddy?
Yes,
No, but he had played tennis at one time,
he had.
and he had a couple of tennis rackets that were hung up on the wall, and you didn't bother them. Those were Granddaddy's tennis
Oh,
rackets.
wow. But I think last time we talked, you mentioned that you and Polly did play some tennis.
Yeah, but that was in high school.
Okay, in high school.
You
Okay.
have to have a tennis court, you know.
Oh, yes, I know.
And not many people had a tennis court in their backyard.
No, that's true. You remember what happened to Mother and Pop's tennis court on Buford Drive here, don't you? It became a garden.
Yeah, I remember that.
They graded it off to be a tennis court, and it turned into a garden.
It was more important to have food than it was to play tennis.
I guess so. I guess so. I'm not sure I believe that, but that's what they thought. Yeah. You know, I'm still playing tennis all the time.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You need the exercise.
Absolutely. That's how I get my exercises.
Yeah.
It's on the tennis court. So, sounds like it. I have the tennis genes, though. If your daddy had tennis rackets and you and Mother played, and I know Pop played,
Yeah.
Jack, he played
Oh,
all
yeah.
the time.
All of us learned to play tennis.
Uh-huh.
It was just that you're accepted. You're accepted in any community if you play tennis.
Well,
you know?
maybe. I've been accepted in some communities that I probably wouldn't be accepted in otherwise.
Absolutely.
If it wasn't for my
Tennis
tennis.
is the passport.
It is. It's been my passport to meeting people and
Oh yeah.
and meeting some pretty
Mm-hmm.
great people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So do you remember what did the high schools have a tennis court, or where did you play?
We had tennis courts at high school.
At the high school? Okay.
Had three tennis courts,
Mm-hmm.
and it depended on where you were in ability to play tennis that you played on that court.
Uh-huh. Any other sports? Basketball?
Oh yeah, they had basketball, and they had a little bit of tennis but tennis was not the sport that some of the other things were.
Right.
Now tennis, when my mother was growing up and in high school, was the thing to play.
Oh, that's what it was. You said that your mother and one of her sisters,
Pearl and Lois.
Pearl or Lois, played tennis in their long dresses.
Oh yeah, long skirts.
Uh-huh.
They usually were called divided skirts, and they actually were long pants, a long that covered up the crotch.
Okay, well, that's important. and and okay, yeah, that's what it was. It was mother and Pearl, or grandmother, my grandmother and
Yeah.
Pearl
Yeah,
played some tennis in the long skirts because that was the only sport that the girls were allowed to play.
right. That had dignity to it.
Oh, that had dignity to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's
Well, I guess one reason that it was so important was that such a few women played, and usually they were college age
mhm.
gamesters or students or whatever you call them,
Yeah.
participants. And
Uh-huh.
um,
You know that my mom, Polly, and Jack, that's where they first met,
yeah,
was on a tennis court.
yeah. And it was important. She met him at the tennis court.
Yep, yep. It's one of my favorite stories that she used to tell, and I started telling it after that.
I was not much of a tennis player. In fact, I wasn't much of a sports player of any kind.
Right.
And, Sarah came along, and Sarah did everything.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she was into anything and everything that came down the pike.
And she was how much younger? She was
Yeah, she was 12 years younger than I was. And
okay, 12 years.
see, I was a grown young lady when she was born,
Right,
and
right.
made a lot of difference in our ages.
Yeah, yeah.
She was allowed to do a lot of things that had not been allowed to do.
Yeah, sometimes those youngest ones get treated very special too, you know, or they get more freedom
Yeah.
sometimes. Uh-huh.
You always sort of envy them. They always have a little more of something that you didn't have.
Had it easier, yeah. They had it easier, huh? Mm-hmm. Well,
Mother would say, now, if you girls are going to have company and you need some refreshments, you better start right now and get them ready.
nobody's fixing them for you, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
We learned to make pound cake and all kind of things that otherwise we would not have made.
That's one of the things that I know my dad, Jack, used to love your pound cake
Yeah,
that you made.
yeah,
That was one of your specialties.
yeah.
Yep.
A pound cake with a caramel frosting.
Oh, no wonder he liked it. You know, but he would always talk about that.
Well, Mother always made a caramel frosting, and that was one of the things that I wanted to make as good as my mother made.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. Now, and tell me about your church. Where did you go to church?
We went to the Presbyterian church, and we lived out in the country, and we'd go to church, and somebody always wanted to go home with us to have lunch in the country and play all afternoon, and time for service, come back to church again. Didn't matter how dirty you were.
Oh, you mean like Sunday evening?
Yeah.
Sunday evening they would have another service? Okay.
And you came back to the service and brought your guest back
Dirty.
to the service, dirty and happy and
And
sunburned.
Yep, yep. That was your day off from school and work and everything. And was that was in Toccoa? Where was it? Which church are you talking about? In Toccoa?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
on the main street in Toccoa.
Okay.
You had two streets in Toccoa. One went this way and one went that way.
Right.
And they went around the courthouse.
Okay.
And it depended on whether you were on the north of the side of the courthouse or the west side of the courthouse.
Uh-huh. And then when you were living on East Confederate in Atlanta,
Uh-huh.
I think weren't you going to a Methodist church then?
Mm-hmm.
What church was that?
Well, it was a Methodist church. There was a Methodist church at the end of the street.
Okay. At the end of East Confederate?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Because that's what I kind of remember, because you were going to a Methodist church and my mom and dad were down in Florida and we went to a Presbyterian church.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But where I was in Atlanta, they had Methodist and Episcopalian and everything else, and the Presbyterian were on the other side of town.
Okay, so that's why you went to the Methodist church.
That's why we were Methodist, because the church was convenient.
Yes. And then when you came back to Buford here, you went to Rock Springs.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Rock Springs Methodist.
Mm-hmm.
How's Gary doing these days? Do you hear from Gary very much, or Gary?
Gary and Larry are both in Atlanta, and Gary was living in our old house on East Confederate. I don't know whether he's still there or not.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
You got back into the East Confederate house, huh? Hmm.
They took out all the walls and replaced them with fever board or something that they could paint and make look nice. And
Uh-huh.
the last time I was in that house, it was really dressed up.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Looked clean and fresh.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think Alan was telling us that the Historical Society
Uh-huh.
said they have to keep it nice. I don't know
Yeah.
what he said. Both of
It's
those.
in the Historical Society's
Right.
preservation part.
Okay. Well, tell me about your activities in the garden club.
In the garden club.
Yes.
Well, mostly I was out of contact with the plow and the hoe and everything, and mostly that I did, I talked to the women in the garden club about how to do things, but I read it from a book so they could follow along if they needed to have some more information that I can give them.
Uh-huh.
And that was about it.
Because I remember later on that they gave you a lifetime membership.
Yeah.
In the garden. And what was it? What was the? Did the garden club have a name? What was the name of the garden club? I'm thinking that. Was it just Buford Garden Club, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. You think so? Okay.
Oh, those were the days.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
But we need to have garden clubs and teach young people how to propagate plants and even how to raise a seed bed.
Uh-huh.
And if you don't, you're going to lose some of the
Right.
floral that you have.
Yeah. I like to propagate. I've done a little bit of propagation.
Mm-hmm.
take a clipping and put some root tone on it, and then keep it watered and take care of it until it actually can grow some roots. I mean, that's always satisfying.
In about 2 weeks, you got a nice little plant.
New plant. It's like a new plant. Yeah. Yeah, that's fun.
And what did the old man say? Times they are a changing.
Times they are a changing. Yeah. Well, it's been really nice to talk with you again.
and think about how much things changed from the time our parents became adults until you became adult.
Oh yeah.
And times they were changing.
Now my kids are adults, and pretty soon my grandkids are going to be adults.
Before you know it.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we're I think do you have any words of wisdom for me as far as being a good parent?
Yeah, always let them know who's in control.
Okay, that's a good one. Always let them know who's in control. Okay.
Let them know what you expect of them.
Yeah.
To behave themselves.
Right. To be clear, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty good advice. That's real good advice. Okay. Yeah, we're going through that now, so I'll try to follow that advice. I'll do my best. And do it with love, right?
Yeah.
I think that's an important thing. Yeah. So,
let them all have a pet. They need a kitten or a puppy, and they need to take care of it from the very beginning. Whether it's
what do you do when they don't take care of them, though?
Take it away from them.
Take it away from them.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
that's
now
all right.
you don't get a pet. You
Okay.
don't treat it right.
Okay. That sounds like a good one. Well.
And usually pets are pretty easy to come by there.
Yes, they are. Pets are easy to come by. That's true.
A cat had seven kittens.
Yeah.
My mother wondered what we're going to do with all these kittens, and before they were weaned, every one of them had a new place to live.
Oh wow, that's good. You did good there.
Kittens and puppies go quick.
Uh-huh.
Goldfish go pretty fast too.
That's one of my favorite pets, goldfish. Oh, that's nice.